We all know by now that the New York Daily News is being operated by a gang of liberals elitists with the intellectual equivalence of a 5-year-old child, but today, for Independence Day, they managed to stoop to a new all-time low. The clown who plays king can't overthrow the bedrock values this nation was founded on 242 years ago today. Bedrock values? Like what? Free stuff, abortion on demand and paid for by the American taxpayer, open borders, the right to step on people of religion while defending the LGBTQ community. Is that some of the bedrock values this rag of a publication is referring to? These are our values via chicks on the right. It's about celebrating and remembering that we live in the most unique and blessed country in the history of the world. We're the first country to take the concept that mankind's rights are derived from God, not from government, and successfully apply it on a large scale. That is the spirit of America. We weren't created to bow down to the will of a government entity. People forget that the entire Declaration was risky. The founders were certain they were signing a sure DH sentence. They pledged everything they had, including their lives, to each other and to the entire cause, because they knew it had to be done. That is the American spirit. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form, as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. But this doesn't stop the New York Daily News from using a holiday which could very well bring us together for the purpose to forward the left's agenda and fan the fires of division. And most importantly, what the intellectual minds at this newspaper have forgotten is that our Independence Day isn't about the president. If had been then during the Obama years, we would have pretty much had to celebrate December 12th, which is Kenya's Independence Day. All kidding aside though, why can't we have at least one day of peace? President Trump hasn't done anything to warrant all this uproar from the leftists in our country, and even when you confront them, all they keep repeating is Russian collusion, which was already proven to be a fake narrative paid for by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. President Trump isn't under investigation, and even Mueller and his team have said so before. But the left in this country want to keep repeating the same thing over and over again in the hopes that it sticks. But that's really sad about all this is the fact that we can't even have one day of peace, not even to celebrate our nation's Independence Day. That's not right. Here is more on the New York Daily News bias via Post-Eagle newspaper. Bill Donahue comments on biased reporting by two New York dailies. We have repeatedly said that the vast majority of media outlets and pundits who dwell on priestly sexual abuse, a problem that occurred mostly between the mid-1960s and the mid-1980s, are not seriously interested in the sexual abuse of minors. One way to prove this is to review how the media cover this issue, and the victimizers are not Catholic. The evidence is overwhelming. The Catholic League conclusion is correct. Just this week, the New York Post and the Jewish Forward reported on an Orthodox yeshiva in Brooklyn that agreed to pay $2.1 million in a child sexual abuse settlement. The case involves Rabbi Joel Kolko, a senior rabbi, who was charged with molesting two boys at the Jewish day school. This was not the first time that charges had been made against this rabbi. They have been going on for 25 years. Rabbi Kolko is quite unlike most of the priests accused of abusing minors. In the case of priests, almost all of the abusers were homosexuals, 81% of the victims were male and 78% were post-pubescent. In the case of Rabbi Kolko, he started molesting the boys when they were 6 years old. He is a true pedophile. The other two New York newspapers, the Daily News and the New York Times, are known for their fixation on priestly sexual abuse, and for their hard-hitting editorials on this subject. But neither paper ran a story on Rabbi Kolko, and there will be no editorial. So predictable. The bias is even more blatant than this. Just last month, The Daily News ran a story on a Bronx priest accused of molesting a 15-year-old boy 30 years ago. The previous month, the New York Times ran a story about a teenage boy at Fordham Prep who was allegedly abused by a lay teacher 32 years ago, yet neither newspaper has any interest in reporting on millions of dollars being paid out in a settlement. In 2016, in a case involving a pedophile rabbi, and they expect us to believe that there is no anti-Catholic animus at the Daily News and the New York Times. They prove us right all the time.